I remember we had a bunch of friends starting out with us, and none of them are trading right now. I think the reason was because they just lost like $100, maybe like 500 euros or something. And that's it, you know. And if you just lose that small amount of money, you'll be like, yeah, whatever, you know, I tried it, it's a scam. You move on. But on the other side, someone won, you know, because if I'm losing, someone is winning, right? So I was like, okay. And because I was also making profits, I knew, okay, this is possible, but we just have to find a way of consistency. Because in our first month, we made profits. Like I flipped like a 500 euro account to 10,000, but then lost it all because it was just with high risk and with a bit of luck, of course, with knowledge as well. But there was no consistency.
Rightio, folks, here we are on Trading Now. If this guy looks a little bit familiar, it's because we had his brother on not too long ago. He's part of the Funded Brothers, and these guys trade the gold charts. We're going to get to hear Kadir's story today, which I believe is quite different from his brother's. So everyone says, you know, trading it's all about, you know, the mindset, and I'm guessing you've got a slightly different mindset than him for whatever reason, life experiences, etc. So when you guys first sort of, I suppose, started placing trades and trying to execute the strategy, did you find anything weirdly sort of, you know, one of you was better than the other or anything like that?
Yeah, I think like, for example, when it comes to holding positions, I think Hamza was always better. Because in trading, like at the end of the day, it reflects your personality, right? Like everyone is different from another. So Hamza can hold positions way better than me. So I can honestly say that. But then on the other parts, I have things that I am maybe a little bit better. You know, for example, I can memorize chart patterns really, really well. You know, I remember what happened. Like if you show me a chart, you know, I remember, okay, like I can see what happened there, and I don't forget like the charts, you know, because I'm on the charts every day. And that's why our strategy, it works so well for me, because it's all about the candlestick patterns, you know.
Yeah. And do you guys like trade individual sort of accounts and stuff?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, okay, right. So you can see that obviously he's holding trades longer than you, and you're probably, you've got more, you're finding more entries, or you're just better at getting the good entries. What's your magical sort of skill here in this pair?
Yeah, I would say so. Like especially like trade management. I mean, Hamza himself always says like he leaves that part to me, like when to break even, or when to move the stop into profits, when to take profits, maybe a little bit. Like when it comes to trade management, I think that would be my part, you know, and finding the the exact entry. But yeah, and that's the beauty of having two people, because like the professionals also have a bunch of people in their teams. So we sort of like have like everyone has his own skill, I would say. Like of course we both know how to trade, we both know the strategy, but some things he does better, some things I can do better. So we become a good team like that, I would say.
You've probably heard me talking about trading with confidence, and honestly, it's a lot easier when you're not risking your own money. That's why I wanted to mention Blue Guardian. They offer instant funding or a challenge to get you started, and up to 400k in funding, weekly payouts, and a 90% profit split, and they've already paid out over 15 million to traders around the world. Plus, they're sponsoring Birmingham City FC and Chris Eubank Jr., so you know they're serious about backing performance. Check them out at blueguardian.com or check the link in the description.
And did you ever sort of like, were you ever envious of, you know, him holding on to a position longer and making way more, and you're like going, damn it, what did I get out of there? And did you have any sort of psychological battles you had to deal with there?
I mean, yeah, there is one trade I don't forget. Like, it's been quite a while, but gold was making all-time highs, but not at this time, because gold is doing all-time highs since like 2 years. But I remember that I didn't close the full position, but I took partials. So I partialed out like 80%, and Hamza was holding the whole position. And then from the all-time high, we went like literally from the all-time high, we went another 500 pips on gold. And anyone who trades gold knows that 500 pips is a lot. Even if it's just a one lot that you're holding, it's still some good money. and yeah, he was holding that position and literally trading on every single 5-minute candle, and that's something that I've never seen on anyone. I mean, that's a skill that I've seen only Hamza doing, because I'm seeing it live. It's not fake. I'm seeing it right in front of me, and I think the best way to do that is also to look at the candle closures. Don't look at the candles moving. Just look at the closures. Come back when the candle closes, and then move your stop, and then trade. Because when you're trading gold or NAS, like these assets are so volatile, the 5-minute candle will be bearish at some point in the beginning, but then in the last minute it's bullish. It just pushes right away.
And so do you think, I mean, it sounds easy. This is the big conundrum here, right? So it sounds easy. Oh, he just trailed his stop loss underneath the 5-minute candle. So the question I've got to you is, why couldn't you do that?
I mean, that was like a year ago, that trade, because I remember that trade, because we had a really strong manipulation candle on top of the all-time high. But nowadays, I do it myself as well. We also have it even in our group, like when we call a trade, if we see the potential that the trade can go more than that. For example, we had a NAS trade, and we literally trade the stop on every single 5-minute. And I think at 2.5 hour, we got taken out. And then it was perfect because market started to range, because you're expecting momentum, and momentum was not there anymore. So yeah, to go back to the question, I do it myself now as well. But of course, I don't do it like Hamza, because he can really hold positions and full positions. I'm not talking about like a runner. I can hold a runner overnight. I don't care. Like 10% of the position, 20%. But holding the full size,
yeah, that's it.
That's a different level.
But then, because is it just like stupid sort of? I suppose, is it more of a gambler's mentality, or is there some sort of, higher level of risk tolerance there that you think he has, or is he just used to getting a loss and he knows what a loss feels like and it doesn't feel like anything? It's got to be something in there, right? Because if he can do it and you struggle to do it with that much ease, there's got to be some mental thing that he's got.
Yeah, the thing is, at the end of the day, with trading, it's all about preference. So I always ask myself, okay, what would hurt me more? If I'm at 2 hour and the trade reverses, takes me out at break even, or my trade stop and profit, or if the trade goes all the way to 3 hour, 4 hour, whatever it might be, I could have made maybe 50% more, maybe, double the amount, but that would not hurt me more than losing that trade maybe, or getting out at break even. So I'm more conservative when it comes to those things, even though he should be more conservative, because I'm not even I don't, for example, because he has a son, for example, he has a family, but at the end of the day, like I said, I would say it's all about preference. It's all about what can you tolerate? What are you fine with? Because that's a question that I always ask myself when I'm in a trade, or also when you're executing a trade. And that's a big problem that many people are facing, because many people would be over leveraging, over risking, but ask yourself each and every time when you're in a trade, are you fine with the outcome no matter what? Because if I'm risking too much, of course I will not want my stop loss to get hit, but same with the profits.
I see what I used to always put a take profit in, and then I'd hover over it. This was when I was using MetaTrader, and see what the amount was, and be like, oh, is that it? And then I kind of at that point lost interest in the trade going to take profit, because I kind of knew what I was going to get, versus it was really weird. It was just a weird psychological thing. You mentioned a couple of things there that you guys struggle with, over leveraging, that kind of thing. Is there anything else that you think that is a common mistake that somebody who's fairly new to trading is going to make?
Hey folks, what a view behind me. I'm at Black Bull Markets headquarters here in Auckland, New Zealand. Speaking of views, you can get TradingView paid plans for free at Black Bull Markets, saving you up to $600 a year. That's right, get either the Essential, Plus or Premium plans absolutely free, and all you need to do is trade from one lot a month at Black Bull Markets. And you can also get a 100% deposit bonus for your first deposit up to $1,000. All you need to do is click the Trading Nut link in the description below.
Definitely, I would say, because that was the thing that I was struggling with the most, focusing too much on the monetary side, because back when I started, there were prop firms, but not like now, and I didn't believe it, to be honest, because it sounded too good to be true to have like a 100K account, 50K account, a 200K account, and you can just trade with that and not lose your own money. But don't focus like that. That's my number one advice always. Like, don't focus on the monetary side. Focus on actually being a good trader. What would a professional do? What would a professional trader do? And do those things, because then the money will follow anyways. Because for me personally, that was the biggest thing, I think, because I was trying to make with a small account like a monthly salary, so I can live with that. Of course, some months it played out, some months it doesn't. But don't focus. Like, I know it's silly, everyone says it, but focus on the process, and everything will change.
And I think that's the thing is, everyone says it, and it's the hardest thing to do, right? That's what everyone struggles with. And I mean, obviously, you would have come across some hurdles yourself when you're on your journey to profitability and getting consistency. I mean, did you find any techniques useful for becoming very consistent or just maintaining that consistency?
I would say the number one thing would be to journal your trades. I mean, to be honest, like if any beginners are listening, like most of the times it's the boring things that makes you better in trading, because no one wants to journal, especially when you have losing trades, and no one wants to go over like adjusting your edge, some things like this. Like, these kind of things are so important, because that's what professionals do. They have a big team. They have a risk team. They have a psychology team. They have real professionals guiding them. And we as real traders, we don't have that. So you have to do that on your own, And there are a bunch of platforms where you can use to journal, and also, like I said, to adjust your edge. Because last year, I remember in July, I think it was July or August, market was super choppy, like super choppy. Like, and we adjusted our strategy to just go for a 1-to-1, and that changed everything, and then we literally scalped that market completely. Like, and these things are super important. Like, if you are not aware that market cycles are changing, because they will always change. Look at what's happening right now with Trump. Yesterday, NAS moved like a meme coin, Like, I don't know if you saw it, but one minute candle, 300 points. Like, that's a daily candle sometimes,
What about, like, you obviously hit probably a rough patch during that, transition in the market cycle. String of losses. How do you deal with sort of that from a emotional point of view? And are you able to, I suppose, or do you have any techniques that can help you get over a string of losses, or even a string of wins for that matter?
So the thing is, me and Hamza, I think it was at that time, of course, we saw it like a really bad thing, because we lost some good amount of money, I would say. Especially at that time, it was a lot of money for me. But that was also good, because that's what kept me in the game, Because I remember we had a bunch of friends starting out with us, and none of them are trading right now. None of them are doing
They've all
anything.
given up.
Like, they have nothing to do with trading anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And I think the reason was because they just lost like $100, maybe like 500 euros or something. And that's it, And if you just lose that small amount of money, you'll be like, yeah, whatever, I tried it, it's a scam. You move on, But if you lost a little bit more than that, then you will be like, okay, I lost because that's what I thought about. Like, I lost a big amount of money, and that was, back then it was a live trading account. And I was like, okay, but on the other side, someone won, because if I'm losing, someone is winning, right? So I was like, okay. And because I was also making profits, I knew, okay, this is possible, but we just have to find a way of consistency. Because in our first month, we made profits. Like I flipped like a 500 euro account to 10,000, but then lost it all because it was just with high risk and with a bit of luck, of course, with knowledge as well. But there was no consistency.
Right. And when you say no consistency, what was it? Just like you were just like, oh, it should go up from here. No stop loss. Let's go in.
No, not like that. But for example, like one thing that many beginners are doing, they just up and down the risk, like how they feel, you know. But that's not what you should do. Like as a professional, what you should do is if you have an A plus plus setup, that's when you size up, you know, if you want to size up. But apart from that, you keep your risk steady because there is always the probability of having a loss. You know, every trade has the probability of having a loss, even if you have a 90% win rate. And on some setups, I have a 90% win rate, and it can be a loss as well. So I just accept that, and I keep my risk steady. Of course, I do size up here and there, but that's when I have the A plus plus setup, and I know that it's a high probability, and I can accept the loss as well. That's really important, that you are fine with it because you know the probability is always there.
Hey folks, just jumping in here quickly. Now, if you're looking to trade dynamically, you want to learn from my own trading mentor, JJ, then what you need to do is click the link in the description, register your interest, because we're going to be launching this Dynamic Traders Club very soon and you don't want to miss out. All right, let's dive back in. What about you guys landed on this strategy. Have you tweaked it at all or improved it in some way or sort of thought it's you obviously I know you saw it stop working at one point when you transitioned to just a 1R win. What's the sort of plan going forward with it?
In regards of if we're going to change anything with the strategy?
Yeah, or if you've adapted it in the past, like just other than that time you mentioned.
Like I said, one time I did, we both with Hamza, we had like a string of break-evens, like a bunch of break-evens, like 4 or 5 break-evens in a row. And we were like, okay, this is not normal because we know from our data that this should not happen, you know. And we were, kind of like back testing the last month. And then we saw, okay, like market right now is in a range, you know, and it's also in a range on the higher time frame on the daily. So let's adjust to 1-to-1 because we saw that the 1-to-1 always hit. And that's why we had the break even, because we put the stop loss at break even at 1-to-1. And that's one adjustment that we did. But right away, when market started to trend again, we directly adapted and went back to the normal, you know.
And so what for you to try and identify, and it's one of the hardest things, to try and identify that the market condition has changed. It's now either, let's call it choppy or in a range or whatever it is. What was the one thing that sort of, I suppose, you guys did to go, this is the condition has changed. We're going to accept that and we're going to lock it in and we're going to change something, because to do all those 3 things takes a lot of questioning yourself, what if I'm wrong? And trying to get that sort of thought pattern out of your head and sort of believe that you're right, because then you've got to go, when do we decide that it's trending again? So what were the things you added in there to give you that confidence?
Yeah, I mean, of course, you need to be a little bit brave, you know, to do that. But also, it's just based off experience. Because if you're seeing that the volume is just low, the market is not moving, the market is choppy, and you have the experience, you see the candle sizes are super small, you know, then that's when you can do that and you just accept it and you just, okay, like I just scalp this for a 1-to-1 and that's it. But I would say that's the only issue that would occur like with our strategy, because we always look for an expansion move, ideally on the daily. But for example, like the market conditions now also changed, but did it change for the better or for the worse? I would say for the better, you know, because more volatility means more opportunities. Because if I'm as a scalper, like I enter the trade, I'm aiming for a 1-to-2, but then market decides to go 200, 300 points with 1 5-minute candle. I made a little bit more. not a little bit, but considerably more than I planned to.
Okay, so I don't know if you answered my question in terms of like how do you're stuck in this consolidation range, right? And you're trading 1-to-1. At what point do you decide, okay, we're no longer going to do the 1-to-1, we're going to now do the 1-to-5 or whatever it is?
The moment when I see that the market is not ranging anymore on the higher time frame, because if I'm seeing that we start to trend again, like for example 2 or 3 weeks ago on gold was having a really ugly range on the daily time frame, but then we had a really strong daily closure. I think it was with CPI, and then the next day we started to trend, and we made like
it went up for quite a
serious
bit,
like all-time highs, and we were expanding and trending really hard. And that's something I would say like we do, like look at the overall trend, and if the daily is ranging, the 4-hour is ranging, most likely your session will also be ranging. But the range doesn't mean that you can't make money, because if you're scalping, if you're an intraday trader, you can always get trades.
Cool. Now, what about when you're trying to maintain focus and avoid distractions whilst you're trading? What do you do? Have you got any techniques or stuff you do?
When I'm in the session, like when I'm
when you're in the session, like trying to make sure you're not getting distracted by like things popping up on your computer or your phone, or what do you do to maintain focus?
I have everything closed. Like as long as it doesn't. As long as it's not an emergency, because my family knows that during this time I'm focused, I'm trading, and even if someone calls me, I will not pick up because my phone is on the focus mode. So I am completely isolated, and that's what I have to do, because imagine you're at your normal office job, you can't just pick up the phone and call with someone, your boss will tell you what are you doing, so why are you not doing that when you're trading, and you are your own boss? So it doesn't make sense. So I have everything closed, all notifications are closed, and on my computer I don't have WhatsApp, I don't have anything, so no distractions at all. And it's simple as that. But I know that many people struggle with it, because back in the days I also had that issue. I was always like picking up the phone maybe, or chatting on the phone. But especially because I execute also on my phone, like one on the PC, one on the phone, because I have multiple accounts. I always put the focus mode so I don't get any notifications. And I have this setting on the iPhone that you can limit your time. So I have that as well. And I can't even get in on social media or something.
Okay. And so just to put it into perspective for people, right? So you're sitting through a full 5-minute candle. Are you looking at any other timeframes at that time? Are you doing any other analysis, or are you literally just waiting for that candle to close?
So I do a top-down analysis always. Like I look at where are we in the daily, where are we at the 4-hour, and I mark out my zones, like my area of interest, always only on the 4-hour and on the 1-hour. Only if there is nothing to work with, because we are in a range, then I would look at the daily, because we may bounce from daily levels, up and down, up and down. So that's what I do. But the thing is, my analysis is not on the 5 minutes. So just to make that clear, my execution is on the 5 minutes. So the 5 minute or the 50 minute, it depends all on volume, back in the days, it was the 1 minute. It's just my execution. So my entry is on the 5-minute time frame, but I have the idea maybe with the 1-hour intraday trend,
Okay, so whilst the market is, I suppose doing its thing, you're basically going, all right, where's my next entry going to be? And then at that point, you're switching to the 5 minute and going, okay, right, now we've sort of hit whatever I want to hit. It's bouncing off that. I want to see my pattern, and then I'll get in, and away we go. Yeah? Is that kind of sum it up? Okay.
Exactly. But the way I will show it today is way, way simpler than that. You can only work with the 5 minute and use only 2 indicators, and literally just work with that. You don't need any other time frame, only the 5 minute, maybe the 50 minute if there is no volume, but that's it. And you can execute on that analysis, everything.
Brilliant. Well, look, let's wrap up on this question. So do you have any advice for aspiring traders, or somebody aspiring to get to your sort of level of trading?
One thing I would say definitely is do the boring part. Like, if you do the boring stuff, then you will see a major change in your trading. Of course, it's boring. No one wants to do it, but it has to be done every single day. Even to this day, I still journal my trades and I record it and everything. For example, just yesterday, I made the trade recap. We took a trade on NAS. I made the trade recap. I recorded it. And these things are really important because you will always see, okay, especially on losing trades, what went wrong? Was it a probability loss? Did I do a mistake? Did I break a rule? But to do that, you need a profitable strategy in the first place. So that's really important, to have a profitable strategy and to have the data to back it up, because data always equals to confidence. If you want to be confident in the market, you can only be confident through experience and data. So you need to know for sure 100% this strategy works over time. It may not work on that one trade, but on the next 100 trades, on the next 1,000 trades, it will work, it will perform, and you know that for sure because you have the data. And if you don't have a strategy like that, you need to find one. For example, our YouTube is completely for free. We have a bunch of videos and everything is proven, And in the Discord, we have the track record. It's all public as well.
Brilliant. Well, look, thank you very much for coming on the show, Kadir, and it's great to get sort of the full round picture here of the Funded Brothers. We're going to jump into a price chart, folks, so stay tuned for that. Now, before we wrap up, what's the best way for people to find out more about you?
We have a YouTube channel where we have a bunch of videos. You can go through that. We have Instagram and Twitter. That's where we're the most active. Recently on TikTok as well. So yeah, pretty much all the socials. I think you will put them in the description. And yeah.
Yeah, what we'll do, folks, is we'll put a link to the show notes page. You're also going to get the video there that we're about to shoot where he's going to break down a couple of magical indicators they've created. Whilst you're down there, hit that subscribe button, like, and the notifications bell. And we'll see you in the next video.